Welcome to the Saugus Zoning Board of Appeals. I'd like to start off our meeting by introducing our members. We have Mr. Peter Rossetti, Stephanie Romano, Chris Riley, Bob Northup, and myself, Tom Travis. The way we normally conduct our hearings is generally informal. We follow the agenda as it appears in the newspaper advertisement. If anyone is under some personal pressure and needs to be heard out of order, please let the chair know at this time. Noting none, I will continue. You are before the board because you are planning to do something to your property that is not in conformance with the requirements of our zoning bylaws. There are three things that will cause you to come before this board: a variance for some dimensional relief, a special permit to do something to your property, or an appeal against the decision of the building inspector. I've asked all the board members to view the properties and be prepared to make decisions this evening if we have enough information presented to us. Once the board has made its decision, the clerk will have 14 days to prepare the decision and get that decision to the town clerk and be stamped in and filed in as an official record. I'll leave that work to Stephanie, our clerk, and she'll go over with you after tonight. Call her on Monday and she'll go through the procedure with you. If at the end of the 21-day period there is no appeal filed in the town clerk, you may get a copy of the building board's decision, time-stamped by the town clerk, and you need then to take that copy to the Salem Register of Deeds and get it recorded with your deed of record. Once this is done, you will bring the decision, which now has a recording number, back to the Inspectional Services Department in the town hall to request your permits. After completing the necessary paperwork and paying the necessary fees, the building inspector can issue you a permit based on any condition we have put forward. Are there any questions at this point? Seeing none, I would like everyone who wishes to speak this evening to be sworn in at one time. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God. And before we get into our matter, I'd like to salute the flag. Please rise if you can do something. Thank you, flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, getting right into things. On the petition of Lisa Modica, owners of property at 10 Elaine Ave, lot number 113 to 115, plan number 3004, seeking a special permit for a 51.2 times 25.9 single-story addition that includes a proposed deck with an additional 7 by 12.8 deck and variances for a pre-existing 4.2 front yard side back with the addition at 11.2 where 20 is required, and a pre-existing 10-foot side yard setback where 15 is required, and an 8.3 side yard setback from the addition where 15 is required, and lot coverage of 26.7 where 25 is allowed. And is petitioner here, or representative?
I'm Paul Lassard, architect for the project for Ms. Modica.
All right, Stephanie, did you get that?
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Okay. You want to give an idea of what the petitioner is trying to do?
Should I explain the project to you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is a single-family house. It is a two-bedroom house. It's one-story existing, and the proposed addition would add 2 bedrooms, but it would still be a single-story, one-family house. I can show you the existing elevations here
Okay,
for your reference. You may also see them in front of you on your leaflets. This is the existing floor plan.
so the existing house right now consists of how many bedrooms?
It has 2 bedrooms existing, and the intention is to add 2-bedroom addition.
For a total of 4?
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
So, these are 2 views of the proposed one-story structure.
And the property is remaining a single-family home?
Pardon me, sir?
Property is remaining a single-family home?
Correct, it will. Even though they're adding 2 bedrooms, it's going to be a single-family home
Okay.
with 1 kitchen. So here you see the proposed floor plan.
Do I have any questions from the board?
I just a couple of questions. First
Sure.
question-
Mr. Riley?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. So the first question would be the total number of kitchens. It's 1 kitchen today, and
Oh.
it remain 1 kitchen?
1 kitchen only, existing and proposed, 1 kitchen.
Okay. And then off the deck, it's 8.3 feet to the property line?
Yeah, you have it in front of you, so something like that.
Not the closest?
There are some setback discrepancies, which is the relief they're seeking. Mr. Delory, who will be living there once the addition is created, served overseas and was substantially injured. And so instead of building a second story and staying within the setbacks, we had to continue to make a 1-story structure, so thereby encroaching on the setbacks a bit.
So one of the inhabitants is a disabled veteran?
He is a disabled veteran. James is right here, as you can see.
All right. Anything else?
Just one more, Mr. Chairman. I think we got to talk a couple days ago, and the shed that's near the street, that's going to move? Yeah. Yeah.
And Mr. Rossetti, did you have something?
No, they got answered.
Any other questions from the board?
Nope.
Any comments from the audience? Seeing none, do I have a motion?
Motion to close the hearing?
Second?
Okay, and who would like to read this one?
I can take this one, Mr. Chairman.
Okay,
So on the petition of Lisa Modica, owner of her property at 10 Lane Ave, lot number 113-115, plan number 3004, seeking a special permit for a 51.2-foot by 25.9-foot single-story addition that includes a proposed deck with an additional 7-foot by 12.8-foot deck. I'll
stop there.
make the motion to grant the special permit, where it's the finding of the board that the proposed addition would not be substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood than any existing nonconformity. And I'll make that motion with the condition that it's to remain a single-family home.
Do I have a second for that?
Second?
Okay, Stephanie?
Mr. Northrup?
Sorry?
Yes.
Mr. Riley?
Yes.
Mr. Rossetti?
Yes.
Ms. Romano?
Yes.
Mr. Travers?
Yes. And now the variance?
Okay, and again, on the same petition, I'll make the motion to grant the variance for a pre-existing 4.2-foot front yard setback with the addition at 11.2 feet where 20 feet is required, and a pre-existing 10-foot side yard setback where 15 feet is required, and an 8.3 side yard setback from the addition where 15 feet is required, and lot coverage of 26.7% where 25% is allowed. I'll make that motion where it's granted due to the shape, soil, and topography which affect the land and the position of the house on the lot.
And do I have a second? Second?
Second.
Okay, and Stephanie?
Mr. Northrup?
Yes.
Mr. Riley?
Yes.
Mr. Rossetti?
Yes.
Ms. Romano?
Yes.
Mr. Travers?
Yes. You're all set? Good luck.
Thank you.
Good luck.
So you'll talk to Stephanie on Monday, and she'll give you the details, the next steps, okay? Don't talk to her on Monday. Give her a call down on Monday.
Excuse me, could I interrupt for a second? Mr. Delory is asking whether this includes the merging of the two lots or whether that should be done under another process.
I know what she's doing.
What two lots?
I'm going to refer to our attorneys on the board.
He's merging lot.
Merging two lots. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think we need to get involved with that.
Generally, merging lots would be a planning board issue, okay? It's a different board, but how are they titled? Are the two lots in the
Same
same
person's name,
person's name?
Yeah, I guess except for real estate.
and where they're adjacent, I think they automatically merge. But it's gonna take a local real estate attorney to tell you better than I can. But I think they become automatically merged.
Jointly,
If
both
they have
by
a
the
joint,
same person.
same name, adjacent, I think they automatically merge together.
Right.
But I'm gonna just refer you to a local real estate attorney to confirm that. But you're all set, as far as I'm concerned. Okay?
Thanks a lot.
All right, thank you.
The other lot is signed too, right?
I would think so. All right, next up, on the petition of Dominic and Janet Zacchino, owners of property at 22 Hurd Avenue, lot number 11, plan number 2023,
Yes.
seeking a special permit for an accessory dwelling and a variance for pre-existing 11.7 and 13.5 side yard setbacks where 15 is required. Pre-existing 5,000 square foot lot where 20,000 feet is required, and a pre-existing 50-foot frontage where 100 feet is required, and allowing 3 parking spaces where 4 is required. Good evening. Please give your name and address, Stephanie.
Craig Zacchino, 22 Hurd Avenue.
All right, well, first off, it's your lucky day. And the reason it's your lucky day is because the governor of Massachusetts changed all the laws regarding ADUs in your, so what we probably might not have approved last month, it's gonna be a piece of cake for you this,
Cool.
or it should be. You don't need a special permit. You're allowed to get an ADU now by right. So you have to go down to the building inspector and apply for a permit. And they're gonna ask you to, they'll have the guidelines that you need to follow. Pretty simple. Your unit can't be more than 50% of your existing square footage. And that doesn't include the stairwell, the mechanics room. You're only required for 3 parking spaces is a requirement. The old rule was 4, so you were lucky there, so, and you'll have to go wherever they want, the fire department. Did you get sign off from the fire department?
So there's no additional new work being done. Back at the end of 22, can I share a little bit with you?
You're gonna need a smoke detector.
Absolutely. So at the end of 22, 2 bedrooms, a wet bar, and a bathroom were added to the basement, signed off on by the building inspector, signed off on by the town of Saugus Fire Department. Back then, my contractor, who did a fantastic job, discouraged us applying for an ADU because it wasn't as popular. Now, knowing it's more accessible, my wife and I just want the ability to plug in a stove in the basement. That's why I was sent in this direction.
Okay, and I'm gonna just refer to the building department, the fire department,
Okay,
to see what you're gonna need for smoke detectors, carbon monoxide
okay,
down there. I don't know if they'll want you to hardwire it or what they'll want you to do. I won't speak to that safety issue,
okay.
all right? As far as the variances go, I even discussed this with the building inspector. As far as I'm concerned, they're not needed. When your house was built, 5,000 square feet was legal. 50-foot of frontage was legal. The side yards were all legal. That's what we go by. So variances aren't needed. It's a legal, non-conforming lot. Okay? You agree with me, don't you? So, just so it doesn't come back to bite you at some way down the road, we'll take a vote on that we're gonna confirm that we've determined it's a legal, non-conforming lot.
Want to open it for discussion or anything?
I wanna open it for this discussion, if anybody has any questions, or if there's any,
Yeah, basically, all we're doing is referring it back to the building inspector, telling him that he doesn't require a variance because he's a legal non-conforming lot.
Right.
And as far as the special permit, the new law that went into effect, I think on
Yeah.
February 2nd or something,
I think so.
eliminated most of what he
Yeah,
needed.
right.
So it's all by right. So it's just, the purpose of the discussion would be to refer it back to the building inspector and inform him that it's a
A legal, non-conforming lot.
legal, non-conforming lot, doesn't require the variance, and under the new ADU law, you don't require the special permit. But as far as the fire department goes, you probably have to still do something with
I
it.
don't know exactly what they're gonna make you do.
Sure. I have one clarifying question, if I could. I'm unfamiliar with the new law. I got the old Town of Saugus printout here from the old ADU stuff. Our livable square footage, less the utility closet, excluding the staircase, is, I think mom's space upstairs is 900 or something, or 1,000. Ours is like 700, which would have, by the old laws, been okay. It seems like it,
The way the law reads right now, under the new law, you wouldn't go through under the old law. It's 50% of your square footage. But you'll be surprised, you take out the mechanical room and the stairwells,
okay,
you might be okay.
okay.
He's already, downstairs is already less than 50%
Oh,
of the
sorry?
total.
I'm saying I'm not sure. I'm saying I'm not sure.
Okay, as long as it's less than 50%, you're fine,
Okay. Okay.
okay?
Yes, sir.
Ian and Michael and the building department should be able to help you through it,
Okay.
okay?
Sounds good.
What? What the new,
That's the new ADU.
let them, the building, special services have it, let them
Yeah.
quote their rules, not us. Any comments from the audience? Seeing none,
Motion.
a motion?
Motion to close.
Second?
Okay. And then a motion to refer back to the building department, building inspector, because there's no need for the variance due to being a legal non-conforming lot. And under the new bylaw, which was recently passed, By the legislature, there's no need for the special permit either, but the board will vote to confirm that you don't need the variance or the special permit.
Okay.
Okay, do you have a second on that?
Second.
Stephanie?
Mr. Northrup?
Yes.
Mr. Riley?
Yes.
Mr. Rosetti?
Yes.
Ms. Romano?
Yes.
Mr. Travers?
Yes. You're all set?
Thank you.
So they're there tomorrow until noon time in the special services, and of course not Monday. Okay?
Thank you.
Yeah, very good. On the petition of Enrique Rivera, and I apologize if I mispronounced your name, and Jessica's Sin, owns a property at 15 Walnut Street, lot number 270, plan number 1038, a special permit to incorporate existing garage into a 31.4 times 23.5 two-story and a variance for a pre-existing 7-yard foot side yard setback where 20 is required. And the petition is here. Make sure that Stephanie has the name and address.
My name is John Andrews from JFA Design Group, architectural designer.
I'm sorry, what was your name?
John Andrews,
Okay, and you're the
Design Group, the architect.
contractor?
No, we're the architect.
The architect, okay.
Yep.
And if you have a business card, if you could give that to
Yes,
Stephanie
sure.
also. Give me an idea of what you're looking to do.
Yes, so what we have is we have a single-family Cape house. It's about 1,400 square feet. Actually, in the map of deeds, it says it's a 4-bedroom, but it's really not. It's really like a 2-bedroom. The family's here, Eric Ribeiro, his wife, and his child. And what they want to do is, of course, grow their family, and they're looking to get some more space. The difficulty here on this lot is where it's located, there's a lot of ledge. So if you look at the plot plan will show where we want to do the proposed work. So we want to do the proposed work on the left side of the building where the garage is now. The thought is to take down the existing breezeway and garage and then add the addition there. The problem is we're into the setback. We're at 8 foot 2 inches off the side setback. We have all the other requirements, the front, the rear, lot coverage, all that other stuff. And the reason why we're going on that side of the building as opposed to the right side is, again, the ledge. There's a lot of ledge on this property here. So that was the best way, after talking to multiple builders, that was the best location to add this addition. So what's going to happen is we'll remove the garage and breezeway, we'll go up above that same foundation, repair it as needed, but then we also want to get some square footage by going towards the front, adding about 10 feet towards the front. And then that will be 2 stories there. You can see that in T1. See the front elevation. So that's way over to the left side. You see that new part of the addition. The rest of the house is going to remain the same. So really it looks, if you look at everything, we're asking for relief on the side setback. In that space, if you look at the floor plans, the proposed floor plans, it shows there'll be a bedroom there, a family room, a laundry in the back.
How many baths are in the house right now?
In the house now, 1.
And you're gonna,
This will make it 2, yeah,
this will be a second bath, okay?
yeah. And that's really the only thing we're asking for. It meets the height requirement. It still stays as a single family.
Do I have any questions from the board?
Mr. Chairman, no questions, but just for clarity, there's 2 short setbacks here. One is the front 8.2 feet.
Yep.
And then the rear is a bit tighter at 7 feet, correct?
Yeah, the rear 7 feet is the existing foundation, so that's why we're leaving that there.
Yeah. Okay. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Anything else from the board?
No.
Any comment from the audience? And do I have any motions?
Motion to close the hearing?
I'll second it.
Okay, who would like to read this in?
I'll read it.
Okay,
On the petition,
Faster.
Henry Laverio and Jessica Sin, owners of property at 15 Walnut Street, Lot 270, Plan 1038, seeking a special permit to incorporate existing garage into a 31-foot, 4 inch by 23 feet, 5 inch, 2-story.
stop there.
Okay.
Take the special permit first. So, and what are the conditions to that?
And the board, is the addition would be not substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood than the existing nonconformity,
And the house to remain a single family.
and the house will remain a single family.
Yes.
All right, do I have a second to that?
Second.
Okay, Stephanie?
Mr. Northrup?
Yes,
Mr. Riley?
Yes.
Mr. Rossetti?
Yes.
Ms. Romano?
Yes.
Mr. Travers?
Yes. And now for the variance, Bob?
and a variance for a pre-existing 7 feet side yard setback where 20 is required.
And same conditions.
And the variance is granted to the shape, soil, and typography which would affect this land and the position of the house on the lot.
Do I have a second?
Second?
Mr. Northrup?
Yes.
Mr. Riley?
Yes.
Mr. Rossetti?
Yes.
Ms. Romano?
Yes.
Mr. Travers?
Yes. You're all set.
Thank you.
That was easy.
Good luck.
Good luck.
Yes.
And before we get into the 961 Broadway development, we're going to take roughly a 5-minute break to give IT and Saugus Cable time to set things up. Yeah. Please just turn it on.
Now we're recess.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, make a motion to take a brief recess.
Do I have a second?
Second it.
And I just want to explain to the audience, I didn't know how long the first 3 were going to take. So I estimated for the petitioner on this to come around 7:45. I thought would be fine. I didn't know we'd get through those 3 as quickly as we did. So I'm sorry if we got a little bit of downtime until I get here. I'm sure they'll be here any moment. You want 10 seconds? Are we ready? Where'd he go?
Yeah, we're good. You can do it.
Yeah. All right, let's get started. since we do not have our peer reviews in, we're going to have a limited meeting the rest of this evening. What I'm going to allow, the Malden Anglers have requested that they give a short presentation on their property, and I'm going to allow that now. If a representative of the Anglers wants to come forward. And please give your name.
My name is Gene Jeffrey. I'm on the Board of Directors of Malden Anglers.
Okay, and you can go ahead and give a presentation.
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you have one for the petitioner?
Thank you.
Mr. Jeffries, can you give one to the petitioner?
The gentleman there in the back.
Lynn, just raise your hand, just so you have a copy of what is. Yeah, I just did. I said I was going to allow the Anglers. The Anglers have requested a few minutes to make a presentation. So I said, sure, without any peer presenters here.
Basically, we want to present our club as being in complete objection to this project. The picture that you see on the first page of this document down here is the view from our clubhouse.
Right into the microphone.
Sorry.
It's so bad here.
You see the view of the project site from our clubhouse. The top of that hill on the right side is where the current building is, behind the trees, and the proposed building will go to the left of that and quite a bit higher. The real issue for us is the wall that they're going to build on that slope, which will require a slope variance. They're going to extend a road off the edge of the hill and drop a 30-foot, pick a number right now, 30-foot wall down the side to within 15 feet of our boundary. They will denude that entire wall of granite, take down all the trees. We have a spring that feeds our pond at the base of that wall. I don't know, we don't have a hydrologist here, but that can't be good. And that affects our water level, that affects our fishing, that affects the view of the pond that we have. We use it for a variety of things aside just the fishing for the few of us. We are a site for Project Healing Waters, where we have veterans, disabled veterans, and veterans of all types come to meetings of their own using our clubhouse 2 nights a month. We've taught them how to tie flies, how to catch fish, how to spend a nice quiet hour of solitude and rest at that site. And right now they walk out there and they say, gee, this is like being in New Hampshire or Maine. We're afraid that after this construction, we'll be looking at the side of a Walmart. And that'll be quite a disruption for us. And I don't see how that can be a possible thing to be done in this way. That entire wall will have to come down. I think that road should be put on their project site, on their platform up above, rather than going out over the site, over the hill. There's an extremely steep, if you're not familiar with the site. The pictures there try to show it. We've asked for views from the developer from our site so we could have an idea of what's going on, but we haven't received those yet. And if you look through this in your own time, I don't want to read this to you, but you can see that there's quite a bit of trees coming down. and walls going up. That's the short of it. We would like to give a longer presentation as it allows as we move on with this project. I know nothing will be settled tonight.
Of course, and when the peer review comes in, they'll have
Okay,
comments back.
we'd like, and that's what we're waiting to see, yes.
Okay,
Okay?
okay.
Great.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Is there anyone else in the audience? Yes, sir.
Let me let you finish. Anyone else that is?
Would like to switch, come up to the mic, sir.
Thank you. Thank you for your time. My name is Thomas Liu. I'm both a member for 28 years and also the vice president this year for Malden Anglers. We have a number of members here. I cannot stress to you how important this club is for us, for social and for friendships and for what we serve for the community. We've been a good neighbor to Saugus for a long time, since 1946, when the club was established. A lot of people come in, or just like me, we commute to work, and we enjoy a little solitude to go fly fishing and enjoy nature and things like that. I can't see, we have the club property there right now, and we sort of ignore it in our minds, but how can we look at a 35-foot retaining wall and expect or pretend for us to be in the woods of Maine and stuff like that? The fish that we're fishing for are also stocked, so the membership pays money to actually put these fish into the pond and make sure that we catch and release them. We don't eat them right away, and we have to support the community. We have kids clubs, we have kids that come in, we have fourth graders come in from St. Joseph's School. We support veterans, disabled veterans that through Project Healing Waters to help them rehabilitate, because that peace and quiet, that touch of nature is so important for them. We are desperately concerned that this endeavor here is going to affect that in a number of ways, not only reducing the scenic beauty that is Malden Anglers, but also potentially corrupting our pond. There are pieces in here about a retaining pond, but we're worried that traffic, runoff from the parking lot, things like that are going to affect the pond. Let me tell you that in our best efforts to keep our trout alive, trout are difficult, very finicky species, okay, and they require the coldest, cleanest water. And they also, the bug they eat on is what makes it so joyful for us to catch them, are very, very difficult to raise. These mayflies, these caddis that they feed on are very important. Any change of their habitat into the temperature of the water or the chemical composition of the water can be very, very detrimental to the health. So the consequences of it is you lose sort of almost a park that we have out there that's so much appreciated by the community out here, that's appreciated by children, that is visited by deer, osprey, heron, bass, chickamunks, all sorts of manner of wildlife. This is an oasis right in the middle of Saugus. Okay, I'd love to tell you, and I think that this brochure tells you, does a much, much better job of telling you the retaining wall, the sight lines, but what we need to do is we need to have an extension, be able to consider all the aspects, for peer reviews to be done, for artist renderings, for us to understand what the sight lines are going to look like, and also for the ecologists and the conservationists to get involved to understand what the potential detrimental effects of that pond is. Once we damage that pond, once we make it so it's unable to sustain trout or fish or the wildlife, it's not coming back. And here's our chance for us to make our decisions going forward to make sure that doesn't happen. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. Well, is there anyone else commenting in the audience? Yes, to the...
Hey, how are you? Tricia from Forest Street. I am not part of the anglers, but I do have a big concern for them. I was not here for that Mother's Day storm that I've heard so much about and how much flooding had happened from that. So I'm definitely concerned that when they do the construction up top and they're going to put all that pavement down and put the wall up, the slightest variance in the pitch going wrong could force the water to go up and over down into their area and really pollute that pond. Even if you pitch it correctly initially, just from cars and things going on that ledge area, things can settle And if that's not permeable and the water's not able to drain subterrane, you can't guarantee with a really, really heavy storm like that, that it's going to end up in those holding basins. So I'm definitely concerned for you and the environment around you, that if that's not considered, or if it's not modified and moved elsewhere to give some buffer there of earth, you could have, even with the earth, you could have a really big issue with the water overflow. And like you said, when it's gone, it's gone. There goes paradise. Thanks.
Yes. This one.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and members of the Zoning Board. Lynn Sweet, LDS Consulting Group. I am the 40B consultant for the applicant on this project, and I just wanted to give you a couple of updates. I think we had a fairly successful site walk last Saturday. There was really good participation. We heard a lot of really good questions that we're looking forward to digging into as time goes on. The weather was not as cooperative as we wanted it to be, and we are very much, like everyone else, looking forward to seeing and reviewing the peer review studies. We also received a letter from the police department with some suggested conditions, and the developer is totally open to having those be conditions of a decision, should it be the will of the board. We have made arrangements for the peer reviewers to go out to the site and see for themselves what the site looks like. They haven't been able to make it up until this point. And we are hearing everything that the Anglers Group is stating. We have begun working on renderings and creating plans that will have distances. We know there's a lot of fear around the retaining wall, and I think that some education around that is going to be really important for everybody. There's many ways to dress up a wall. There will be a substantial wooded buffer, and the wall can be treated with well, not treated, that's probably the wrong word, but there are vegetable dyes that can be put on the wall. I have such a wall at our lake house that over the years, it's just not, it's not noticeable. So we look forward to the next hearing, which we hope will be, attended by the attorneys and the peer reviewers, and we can start to, go through all of the different questions that have been raised and answer those questions. And we appreciate your time and consideration. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, through you. You mentioned you're coming up with some new renderings. Those will be of the wall from the Anglers' perspective?
I was showing a few people. Our architect has already come up with a rendering that would show kind of the view through the woods to the building. I think the hard part is the woods are going to be so thick that you're really not going to see it when you're at ground level. So it's hard to give a really good depiction, but I know that they did mention that the wall was going to be within 15 feet of their property line. I'm not sure that's 100% accurate, so they again have asked for measurements, and we're going to do our best to answer those questions. Now that the snow is melting, it's certainly going to be a lot easier to mark things and go through that.
Okay, thank you. And can the renderings include both the wall and the view of the buildings?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else in the audience? Yes, sir.
Good evening. My name is Dino Cascuna. I'm a member of Malden Anglers, but I'm speaking on behalf of Project Healing Waters. I sent you a letter with my concerns about the project. As you saw, the first petitioner tonight was a disabled vet, so I was telling him about the program and how a beautiful, pond we have. And I said, well, enjoy it now because I don't know how long it's going to last. My concerns again with the wall, the removal of the trees especially. pretty much every participant that,
Yeah, try to speak right into the.
right in there, how's that? Okay, all right. So as I was saying, the concern again with the wall and especially the removal of the trees, everyone I've signed up in the past year that's a new participant, like you've heard, thinks they're in New Hampshire. You look beyond that stock red building and they walk in and they say, this place is beautiful, especially in the fall with the fall colors. And removal of those trees plus the wall, it's only a matter of time that wall's gonna be covered with graffiti. And you see that everywhere, no matter how high the wall is. So it's whatever we can do to mitigate that, preferably not remove any of the trees would be, the best case. I know that's not going to happen, but whatever you guys can do to help us with that would be appreciated. Because part of the mission of Project Healing Water is to get these veterans out in nature where they can get away from the noise and everything and have some serenity. And now they're going to come in there and look at a wall. You're going to see a building up on the hill. So I just want to, again, introduce you that I'm the program lead, and I got confirmation that you received the letter on my behalf. Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir. Anyone else? Seeing none, I want to discuss a little bit about when we'll get together again. Oh, I'm sorry. My apologies.
Hi, I'm Anthony DePisa from Gilway, and I just have a couple of questions that I'd like to get clarification on. At the last meeting, we heard that the traffic study was done during the summer, and I was wondering if another traffic study was going to be done.
We're waiting for a traffic.
Okay, so one is good, but one will be done?
Yeah, well, oh yeah, you'll see it. And they'll compare different periods of the year.
Okay. And then just the second question I have, so on the announcement of the meeting, it mentions 961 Broadway, 999 Broadway, and 39R Forest Street. And I didn't see anything about 39R Forest Street, and I'm not sure where that is. And so I was hoping for clarification to understand what 39R Forest Street is.
I believe that is it behind the old Dakota's house? Is that? I'm trying to give it where you and I would understand where it is.
Is it part the Hockeytown area?
If you went to the original Dakota's home and went back to Hockeytown, 39 rear is that area in there, in between Hockeytown and the original Dakota's home.
Okay, so there's, as far as I know, there's no greenery or trees in that area you can see straight back through there.
Kind of overgrown. There's some trees there now, aren't there? It was flattened out. I think there are some trees there. There's been some growth over the last 20 years.
Okay, so I guess just my request would be if in the proposal here, and maybe I just didn't see it, if this could be updated to. But yeah, just to see where it is in reference to everything else.
No, this is more towards Forest Street. Yeah.
I think everyone should see it, not just me, so.
Piece right here. This is what you're talking about, right? This is it, right here.
I'm not sure. I don't.
Okay, so let me just make it bigger.
I don't
so here's
recognize
everything. Route 1. Here's Hockeytown. Here's the entrance coming in. This is the little tiny parcel that you're talking about. This is all going to be roadway. It all is roadway today. So the development is happening over here.
Okay.
Does that help?
Yeah, that's helpful.
I don't. I got it.
Yeah.
I got it.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Long, did you? I don't know what they do.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Robert Long, 26 Bennett Avenue. I've listened to the Malden Anglers and seen the information that they produced tonight. And I have several questions actually to them, because I noticed there's a lot more retention walls than what I've been looking at on the plan that you last had before you in January. I'm just wondering, when I look at those retention walls and the height, where the information is coming from, number one. Number two, as we talked in intermission, you have not received yet a town council or a council's opinion regarding using the 25-foot buffer that goes across the back ends of the property on Forest Street. They're now intending to use it as a roadway, as you can see from the plans. And also, you haven't received anything from the council regarding the covenant that Mr. Palumbo signed in 2015, that if we change the property zoning up on Route 1 to allow a mixed use in B2, that he would follow that route. As you know, I have a copy of that too also. But, so you haven't heard anything in that direction. But in the write-up that they gave to you folks, and some of the people in the audience were fortunate enough to receive a copy, it mentioned that the Board of Appeals has the right to request training and technical assistance. Do you have technical assistance representing the town's interest? Have you had training in 40B as far as the town is concerned?
There is a 40B consultant. There has been a named 40B consultant. I believe her name escapes me. Lynn, I'm looking at Lynn. Right. And I think there's also a 40B consultant.
Well, to be honest with you, a year ago I asked the town manager if he would set up sessions, training sessions, not just for this board, but for others of us. Like, as you know, I'm on the planning board, who have an interest in these 40Bs. I was just wondering if you had received...
We have not done any formal training sessions through the manager's office, no.
And you haven't received any technical assistance as far as these plans are concerned?
Not up to this point, no. But that's what a peer review is going to do.
Because you're entitled to... I mean, they provided on the cover of that handout that they had in January a number of tests that they say they had performed. If you folks had the right technical assistance...
The peer review is technical assistance.
Are they being reviewed by people representing the town of Saugus?
Yes. Yes.
That's my question.
Yes, they are. But I'm not... Yes, definitely.
But who's doing the review?
They're paid for by the peer reviewers. I don't have their names.
I mean, are they selecting the reviewers?
No, the town selects the peer reviewers.
All right.
They're paid for by the developer.
Okay. Anyway.
Stephanie should give you those names.
Regards to the buildings A and B, are both of those buildings going to be buildings that are going to have affordable units in them, or it's just one building? And the reason I ask that, if it's going to be one building, like building on Lot B or whatever you want to call it, then the building on Lot A would not necessarily fall under your 40B.
I believe the affordable units will be spread between the two buildings?
No.
That's correct, Ms. Moore, is it? Yeah, they're going to be spread between two buildings.
So they are allocating the units to each building.
Regulations, they need to be.
Okay, thank you. On the retaining walls, what was handed out to you tonight by the Anglers group, rather surprising to me, the retention walls. I noticed there were retention walls on the properties where the backyards or front yards rather on Forest Street. And it looks like they're going to take down a number of shrubs along, and they're going to put retention walls in, which may or may not benefit those, the owners of those properties, but they should have a fair idea of what's going on. And now the heights that are in these plans, how accurate are they?
Well, we have to give the developer a chance to answer these questions too, Bob, and you don't have that yet. They haven't replied to them. The inquiries came out tonight, and I'm sure when peer review comes about, the developers are here, and they'll have these answers.
Well, my point is this, is that if we have somebody representing the town, like you have Tetra on these plans, and they're good. Tetra's a good company. They do work on the planning board side too. But if you have people representing the town's interest, professionals in that we would have, the plans would be reviewed in a different light than what they would be, say, if, excuse me, if Tetra is hiring somebody to do it. So I'm strongly advocating that you folks have additional professional verification of these plans. Also, too, they have the plan that right now shows the roadway coming down to Route 1, but it's in a small end of a deceleration zone that goes, starts at Hockeytown, goes down to the parking garage, the entrance to the parking garage. Can that...
Again, I do recall when we had the other over at Avalon Bay, and we're behind McDonald's and Burger King, whichever one they're calling that project now, that really the deceleration zone stuff came out after the traffic study. That's part of the traffic study.
Look.
So I think you're jumping the gun a little bit here. Let's have the traffic study are going to make recommendations to these zones. Am I correct?
Aren't they required to have a decel and acceleration lane?
The traffic study is going to give us these answers. The traffic study will give us these answers, yes?
In addition to the traffic study, because it is a highway, we will be meeting with Mass DOT on it as well.
I may be wrong. As I say, our engineer from the town has said that they've been required. Those openings on Route 1 are not town openings. They're really the Department of Transportation openings, Commonwealth of Massachusetts, not ours. In fact, Mr. Rossetti and I went to meetings way back in the 80s when it was the Saugus Bank and Trust, where we were heavily criticized by having too many entrances and exits on to Route 1. But it was up to them who have the approval on those entrances and exits to have done something instead of just criticizing the town at the time. But I'm just saying that are we going to have a deceleration lane which starts at around Hockeytown so that people can come and go without having this morning, we had a meeting.
We may, but we'll know when the traffic study's done. When they meet with Mass, we don't have it now. You
don't have any traffic coming out of that road right now, but you're going to have traffic.
I'm not saying that. We don't have a traffic study yet. We don't have, I don't know, how can we have answers for you before the study's even done?
I'm just saying.
I want to see what their recommendations are. Then we'll be able to answer your question.
Again, it comes down to, are you folks getting professional representation for the town?
That's why we have a peer reviewer doing a traffic study.
Who is the peer review?
MDM Transportation.
Is it MDA?
MDM Transportation
MDM
is doing this traffic study.
Who? I'll get it, don't worry, I'll get it later. All right.
Hired by the town, paid for by the developer.
And also, too, the configuration of the plan. As you know, for those of us who are familiar with the zoning bylaws, we discourage any any roadway beyond 5 feet long, rather, for public safety purposes. That roadway coming in off of Route 1, bending to the left, and going over to building on Lot A has to be, what, 2,000 feet? Have you heard from the fire department regarding the length of the road? And the fact that it is a dead-end road.
The fire department has not come back with comments yet on the project. They've been requested, and I haven't seen any comments from the chief at this point.
And also, too, again, on the regulations we have regarding the town planning board, is that before you go forward with plans, the sureties, the guarantees that the work is going to be done the way that they say it's going to be done. Are you folks requiring the same sureties and guarantees that we would do at the planning board?
I'm going to make the assumption, and I'll say yes, but I'm going to have to confirm that with Jess. I can't imagine that we do a project like that without the sureties in place.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Bob. We're on the same side.
Thanks for putting up with me.
Believe it or not. Anyone else from the audience? All right, what's, yes, sir.
Hi, my name is Paul Duggan, Breakout Road. I just want to bring up my concern.
Can you speak into the microphone?
I just want to bring up my concern on the woods. The woods are not that thick. I can see the crest of the hill from our street. Everybody can. And I can show you pictures. So as far as the woods being thick, they're not. And if you remove more of the woods, it'll make it more visible. But my main concern is the way those parking spaces are on the road. Once you come up off the highway and go left, and the parking spaces that will now be facing our neighborhood, those are going to be above the rooftops. So I'm thinking headlights, especially headlights these days. 50 spaces over our houses.
That's something that we're going to have to take a look at.
Okay, I just want to bring that.
I wouldn't want headlights in my living room every day.
So
that's something we'll
thank you.
Make sure is not in place, that's covered. Thank you, sir. Anyone else from the audience? Yeah.
Good evening, Eric Bremberg, 7 Breakhart Road. I just have a couple of questions, comments related to the waivers of the local bylaws. The first is section 5.7. It's titled Environmental Performance Standards. There's a lot of bullet points in there. One of them, in it notes not to adversely affect nearby neighborhood. So clearly I can see why they want a waiver for this, right? And I guess I want to understand better, like, why they want that waiver. And I don't know if there's any matchups of the waivers to like what their intention is. That would be helpful. Additionally, there's 6.8J. This is related to the dimensional and density. My comment here is the height. You know, I think there's a lot of projects going on in Saugus now and plenty on the horizon that this does not need to exceed the heights. Next, I'm going to bundle a couple things here. 10.2 and Article 12. This is related to permits. I know earlier was saying, oh, no, they're going to do that, I assume. But if they're getting waivers for permitting, I'd be interested to know what these waivers are for, in what particular permits. Oh, and one of the things noted in Article 12, it says, improve the status of the neighborhood in where the use would be in harmony with the intended and purpose of the bylaw. So again, not something I personally would want to get waived. Next is Article 15, and this is interesting because it's an inclusionary housing requirement, and in here it has a lot of content, particularly around affordable housing. So if this is a 40B project, why is this getting waived? Can't understand that. And I know in here one thing to comment on, it said, just curious if any Saugus residents would get preference of these affordable units. So just wondering about that. Section 21, this covers the business, highway, sustainable development zoning. Again, a lot of bullet points in here. Some of them are pretty solid. One of them items in here, it says prohibit vehicle access to existing residential neighborhoods. I know in an earlier meeting they said, no Forest Street access. Well, if we put a waiver on that, why they can just turn around and say, oh no, you granted the waiver. We're going to just cut right through. You granted it. So again, just want to make sure that we have a strong understanding of the waiver of that list of a dozen or so and what the purpose of them are. Thank you.
Miss Lynn? Sir, I have you.
Thank you. All really great questions. Typically, we go through the waiver list as we sort of go through the hearing process, but there's just two things I think that might be helpful because everyone's come out tonight just to answer. With regard to the inclusionary zoning, this project is going to exceed the town's inclusionary zoning requirement. 25% of our units are going to be affordable for households at 80% of AMI in area median income in perpetuity, and we fully intend to work with the town should a permit issue to see if the state will grant a 70% local preference. So the reason the inclusionary zoning is being waived is because that applies to special permits, and this is a comprehensive permit, and the affordability goes above and beyond what the inclusionary zoning is. And just on the last point about the vehicle access, our waivers are specifically tied to the site plan that we have submitted here. So if that site plan does not show access to Forest Street, then there is no access to Forest Street. So the waivers relate back to the plans that are in front of you. I don't know if that's helpful, but I figured I'd throw it out there. Thank you.
Answer.
See if I can get this right. Can you hear me? I'm a fisherman. Actually, I'm outdoors nature. I spend as much time as possible outside.
Make sure it's something your name.
My name is Frederick Holland. I'm a property owner in Saugus. I think what a concern I have, which just occurred to me when I was looking at this thing here, is that not only is it a beautiful place, it's serenity to, like, I think you people should probably visit it. It's a unique acoustic with that hill, with all that vegetation. It's like one of the few places a few hundred feet off of Route 1 where you cannot hear the traffic. And my concern is if you remove all that vegetation and you put up a giant, essentially, amplifier behind there, not only are you going to lose the beauty, but nobody's going to want to be there because it's just going to be a giant echo chamber. And I think there should be an acoustic study too of this wall. Concrete walls, they try to use those, to block traffic in residential areas, and they find that they do not work. They make it worse. They just actually amplify the sound. Thank you.
Then you might as well just take a seat up front.
I didn't do any exercise today. This is good for me. Hi. I just want to point out that we did submit a preliminary acoustic study with our application, so we have tried to be proactive on these kinds of matters. Thank you.
Is there anyone else in the audience? Yes, sir.
Never been to one of these meetings before, and I came to learn about the project because I live on Forest Street, and the woman with the laptop seems to know. And I would like to just state as a resident,
Your
and
name
I
and
think
address, sir?
I'm stating, my name is John Gawk on 20 Forest Street. The assurance in writing before anything is done that there will be absolutely no access to that property via Forest Street. I don't care what they state
So, you
in
know,
the plans.
the developer, first meeting, gave his word, swore to it.
As long as you guys,
Assured the board of it.
as long as that ends up in the final documentation, because it has
And I'll
become,
say I'm one person here, if there's any access to Forest Street, this is not,
okay, because
thing's not out.
that street backs up
No access.
very, very much during the commuting hours, as it is. Thank you kindly.
Sir, I will show you with no access.
Show us.
Anyone else from the audience? All right, seeing none, what I would like to do is try to get together again on March 20th. And I see, Lynn, you're shaking your head, that's not a good date. Well, see, the problem that the board has is March 27th is our regular meeting. And I just feel that this takes away from our regular constituents.
We could, if you would entertain a suggestion, our civil engineer is at another hearing on the 20th, for Tetra Tech, and we know so many, questions about stormwater and runoff. We could potentially do traffic on the 20th, if we can get off our peer review here, and that would be less on the 27th if we did still.
If we're only doing one of them,
Is that okay?
yeah, if we need to, yeah, I just want to get it going.
Okay.
I don't want to,
We need to, also need our lead time to read the reports.
right.
And have them turned around once. So,
And I just think it's just so unfair to the regular petitioners, our regular meeting, people coming for variance and things, they just fall into the cracks. They get lost.
No.
So, we want to schedule a meeting for the 20th. We hope to do at least traffic on the 20th. Okay, is that okay with the board?
Yep.
We were hoping it was good.
What changed?
The peer review was not done with the traffic study. I can't control them. So we have 3 peer reviews, right? Will we do the architecture on the 20th, Lynn?
Traffic.
I mean, I'd like to, I'll be hearing from you two when we're not done in 6 months, if I don't get things pushed along. I'd like to do at least traffic study and architecture on the 20th. All right, and So we're gonna, do you have a motion to adjourn and to reconvene?
Mr. Chairman, motion to close the hearing.
Yep.
Second. Continue the hearing? Continue the hearing. Continue the hearing. Continue the hearing? Continue the hearing. Continue the hearing.
And motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
No, motion to continue the hearing.
Motion to continue to the 20th.
Yeah.
Is that a motion to continue to the 20th? Okay. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
On the 20th.
And you've adjourned? Did we adjourn?
We adjourned. We adjourned. There was a motion to adjourn.
Yes.
There was a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
You can't hear anything.
Thank you.